everybody. Welcome back to Creative Chat Cafe. I am Zef Zan.
Hi, I'm Sondra Firestein.
And we are your hosts at Creative Chat Cafe, a weekly business talk show hangout online where lifestyle entrepreneurs hang out to discuss ideas, share experiences, provide tips, guidance, resources, and hopefully inspiration that will help you achieve success. And if you're new to the show, I always say, hey, take time out to hang out, right? So if you have a mug, come join us. Let me take a sip to clear my throat, right? So we do have a hashtag. Today is a special episode. I want to share the hashtag with you. You can tweet us at CChatCafe on Twitter, and the hashtag for the show is hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out, hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. If you go to Google, you'll be able to find all that. And this special episode, we have a special hashtag called hashtag small changes, big benefits. So when we go online and share all our, information about the show or all the other mini videos, we'll use that hashtag and you can search us online.
Yeah, and all month we've been celebrating Mother's Day because, well, we should. But then we're also celebrating Memorial Day, which is a really important holiday here in the United States. And so today, joining us, we have Fiona Bain. She's a certified professional life coach and a retired Navy commander. And the topic of today's it's in alignment with our hashtag, small changes, big benefits, tips from a retired Navy commander. So welcome to the show, Fiona.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much.
So, Fiona, we want to hear what your story is. We want to know a little bit about you, what your background is, what it is that you do. Tell us.
Yes, sure, absolutely. So my background is I grew up in New York City. I went to school at Stony Brook, which is a SUNY system. And when I graduated, I decided to join the Navy. Mm-hmm. And from there, I did 4.5 years active duty. And I left active duty here in Connecticut and went back to school, got my MBA, and I joined the reserves. So I did another 17 years in the Navy with the reserve. That's how I retired as a commander. Worked for 13 years in corporate America. And really, and I mean this truly, fortunately, was laid off. Let's see, it's a little over 4 years ago. It was awesome. So at that point, I'd always wanted to be a life coach. I shouldn't say always, but for a long time, I'd been really considering being a life coach. And I said, you know what, now's the time. So at that point, as soon as I got laid off, I started researching, and I found the school. I went to IPEC, and I was certified 1 year later, went through the program, and I've been building my business, coaching people, and as an addition to that, I really lucked out and I got a job as a facilitator. So I work down at the sub base, which is down in Groton, Connecticut, and 2 times a month, 6 days a month, I get to work. I teach active duty members. Huh?
Only 6 days a month? That's so awesome.
That's perfect. You know how you talk about those small changes, big benefits?
I love that.
So I do that, and what I do there is I teach them how, I give them skills and help them with their resume, how to transition from active duty into the civilian sector.
Oh, so it's so important.
It's an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so
So
cool.
how did you know, since you mentioned you'd known for a really long time you wanted to be a life coach, what did you know about that? What was that feeling?
The feeling, Sondra, was, I wanted to help people, so I know that working in corporate America is, yes, it can be a high-paying job and you make lots of money, but it was not fulfilling or rewarding for me, right? So it was always more about helping people live a life that they truly love, and I knew that coaching could do that, and so that's why it just resonates with me, and it's the same thing I feel now with teaching at the class that I do at Subbase. I mean, there's so many people who I know are reaping the benefits of that. There's others that aren't. I mean, that's always going to be the case, right? But it's just it's like I said, it's an honor. It's a gift to be on that journey with them,
So I took a look at your website, and in your bio, it mentions that you enjoy working with individuals who are looking forward to make small changes in their lives to reap these big benefits that you mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit more about the small steps that do lead to big benefits, what that means?
Yeah, so I think part of it is just that for some of them, I think it's that looking, where do you want to go, right? So a lot of people just kind of stumble through life and they don't know where they want to go.
Yeah.
And so it's that, what is the vision that you have, and then take the steps to get there. And so working with a coach, when you work with me, I'm actually there as your accountability partner. I'm your facilitator. I mean, I'm the one who kind of coaches you through that process. So that's one piece. And the other piece I do want to share, there's a great TED Talk out there by Amy Cuddy, and it's a really interesting story, and she talks about how doing power posing, I don't know if either one of you are familiar with this, but it's power posing. If you do it for 2 minutes, that's it. It raises your testosterone and it lowers your cortisol. So it's all about how we represent ourselves. And she does this.
Power posing? Is this
power
pose? Like
power posing, like you could do. So yeah, put your hands on your hips, Sondra.
Hey.
Yep. Those are all power poses. So
Wow.
if you do it for 2 minutes, it's just, I mean, they studied it, and what it does is it allows you to show up as a better you. It's not changing anything other than how you represent yourself. So when you show up at your interview, you show up as a better version of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
That
believe
does this all the time.
Go ahead, Sondra.
Well, no, I believe that. I mean, I always love thinking of ourselves as animals, right? And we are. We're part of the animal kingdom. To think that we're not is kind of silly. And so I love thinking about things like that. And there's so many applications in our lives. But absolutely, posturing is so important. I mean, it's such a primal way to kind of not only convince others that you're big and powerful, but you convince yourself. I mean, they even say if you come into contact with like a bear in the wild, you don't want to cower and roll into a little ball, because then the bear goes, oh, hello, you tiny little thing that I can nibble on. You want to be as big as you can, and as soon as you can convince that bear, you're also telling yourself that, oh, I'm really big and really powerful. So I believe that. I think that's really interesting.
Sondra, you're spot on. Spot on.
And I think it gives you a little bit of an inner esteem, self-esteem, and a power. And I think sometimes, especially when you would get up in the morning, it could, you could have been dragged from last night or yesterday's all that negative stuff, and just if you wake up fresh and just go and pose, I'm like, where's my cape? I need my cape.
Well, that's where yoga comes in for me. Like there's really famous yoga poses called Warrior 1, Warrior 2. I mean, you're standing there and you're holding yourself and you're feeling that strength all throughout your body. Sometimes you need that physical manifestation to like be aware and get out of our heads a little bit.
Yeah. I'm a huge yoga fan too. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah.
And speaking of yoga for veterans, there's a whole program going on now for that to allow veterans to do yoga, and it's really interesting. And they changed the wording because for you and I, surrender.
Yeah.
We get that, but for them it has a completely different meaning. So they changed words. It's truly a beautiful thing that's going on. I think bringing yoga to veterans is huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, meditation in general is just known to have so many benefits for kind of the negative parts of life that we feel, and I can only imagine that that's particularly helpful to veterans to have healthy ways of addressing kind of their fears or their anxieties or their stresses in a way that allows them to feel more powerful and more in control. It's got to be. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, and one other thing I just have I'm going to use the word stumbled across is this, there's these different organizations out there now that are rescuing dogs and training them to help veterans with PTSD.
Yep.
And it's beautiful. I mean, I can't watch any of the videos without crying because these dogs are being rescued from euthanasia, and then they're saving these veterans because... Like the one video I was watching earlier, he said 6 of his friends have committed suicide. There's 22 suicides a day of veterans.
I know. So, Sondra, I want to ask you this, and listening to Fiona talk about small changes, big benefits, what are some of your thoughts? Because doing the work that you do, and I don't know if you've had an experience with our vets, what maybe you can suggest or recommend to maybe share some of your personal experiences. Maybe you've worked with your clients who, can enjoy small changes that lead to growth, because you do help people through that transition sometimes.
Yeah. I like to think that I offer really pragmatic help. I offer personal assistance on a membership basis, so super part-time personal assistance. I don't believe that I have any clients that are vets, not that I'm aware of. That's not to say that maybe once upon a time and I just haven't heard about that part of their lives. But one of the things that I have heard from clients of mine is that even though, I always make sure that I hold up my end of the bargain. If, sometimes there's this kind of back and forth with a task. They ask me to complete something for them. I do initial research, and then I need them to provide feedback to be able to follow through all the way. One of the things that I've been told is that just by holding up my end of the bargain, just by people knowing that there's someone else picking up some of the weight, they're held more accountable to actually holding up their end of the bargain and doing what they're supposed to do, because I'm sitting there, although I have all the patience in the world, it's their task that needs to get done. I have no time frame. My clients are really grateful for knowing that there's someone there asking them to do this. It's that accountability partner role. Yep. Also, one of the things, so I've chosen to work mostly with entrepreneurs at the moment, but I have very big aspirations for all sorts of different types of people that I can help. And one of my friends that I was talking to when I first launched my business, she was a recovering alcoholic, and she was mentioning that, everyone has different views of how my services can be of benefit to various different people. I mean, we've talked about how I can help mompreneurs. And I thought that this idea of helping an addict was really interesting, because when you're an addict and you've been in a very kind of dark, confusing, lost world, and you're sober now and you're trying to participate in the world, very rudimentary tasks become very, very challenging. And I would imagine that this would be the same for a lot of veterans that are challenged with PTSD or even physically disabled because of their time served, that having someone to just go to the pharmacy to pick up their medication would be extremely, extremely valuable. Doing basic research, maybe people forget, how to, or, maybe there's fear of picking up the phone and making a phone call. I know that a lot of young people are afraid of that process now because we're so used to living in a digital world. So these very small changes, I think, can be very, very powerful if you're in the state of mind where it just feels like too much.
That's true. That's true. And Fiona, we talk about small changes lead to big benefits, and transitioning from the military to where you are today. I can only imagine that it wasn't an easy task, and then from military to corporate America to being an entrepreneur, that must have been some sort of a transition. But if someone who's out there who's watching, who happens to be in the military, who have served in the military, how do you think what are your tips that can help them empowered to build a business, a successful business in life? Post-military life, because I know I met a gentleman online through LinkedIn who connected with me, who actually is back at college. He served in the military for I think a few years, and he said it wasn't easy transitioning into being an entrepreneur because it's a different scope, a different platform. How do you have any tips that could probably help our audience out there who's in that same position?
Sure. Number one is networking, right? So let me just back up one. I think number one is knowing where you want to go, right? And so then whatever, you have that goal in sight. But networking, as you know, right, is key. I mean, that is the one where you can start having conversations with people, asking people. The other thing I think that's most challenging for veterans, and I really hope that this starts changing, is them asking for help. Yeah. They're trained to do everything on their own. I mean, yes, they work as a group in some instances, but a lot of it's you got to do it yourself, right? So, it does take a village to help people or to raise children or however you want to look at it. So always ask for help. There are so many agencies out there. And what I loved hearing from Sondra, I mean, Sondra, I could see a whole niche of yours being veterans, because what if? I mean, what if you just call Sondra or you email Sondra, even better, and you say, hey, these are the things, I don't know what to do. And then what happens is Sondra develops this network, and she can just plug them in. So it truly is, it's the reaching out. And unfortunately, what happens with PTSD is you suck in, right? You're not going to reach out, and that's the dangerous part. So, if we can let go of whatever the stigma that's associated with asking for help, but asking for help, networking, just having conversations with people. But I think the start is where do you want to go? You know, and if somebody wants to go back to school, there's help for that. If you want to start your own business, there's a SBA. There's lots of different organizations to help you there, right? And then if you want to go work in corporate America, there's ways to do that as well. There's recruiters out there that will help place you in jobs. So the better you know yourself, the better it's going to be for you. And to start sooner versus later. So if you know you're leaving active duty, I would be starting, if you could start a year before you're getting out, that's the time to start building your network. Get on LinkedIn, get that set up, going to meetings if you want to go to meetings, use meetup.com, you know. There's lots of different things, but the sooner you start, and you're not going to really start interviewing, the earliest most likely would be 90 days out. So that gives you a good 6 to 9 months to network. The best way to get a job is to have somebody hand in your resume, period.
I'm curious to know, Fiona, how veterans find out about what you offer. How do they know to work with you?
Good question, Sondra. A little challenging at times, right? So, because we don't ask for help as veterans, right? So I have been, you know, getting out. I've been doing different talks at libraries and things like that, and obviously networking with people like you and Zef and different groups. But that, I mean, I'll be honest, that's been a challenge for me. I've been, actually, I've gotten in contact with some other veterans who are doing this entrepreneurial business, and, you know, to me, I think it's building the partnerships, and I think over time, we're going to spread out, and there's going to be so many people who know what we do that it'll just kind of start flowing in, because there's got to be a number you reach, right? There's that tipping point. Once we get there, it's a beautiful thing, and we can just help more and more people.
Cool. So, Zef, you're really big on empowerment, too. If there's one thing that you can share from your years of being in business, what's an experience that you can share that can help empower our veterans to achieve their own success?
That's a great question, and I think this is going to be a universal answer whether you're a veteran or not, is that it will complement what Fiona just mentioned earlier, is networking with people, but I think the most important thing, not only networking, on a day-to-day basis, we have to associate ourselves with people who continue to lift us up. Because you're right, Fiona, you know, being a veteran, maybe, you know, it's not easy, or it's not something that people think immediately, oh, I gotta ask for help, right? But I think when you associate with people who continue to lift you up, it will come naturally, because I experienced myself, especially like if you're independent, you never ask for help. This is general for everybody, right? And coming from a military background, you're transitioning, everything is different. It's change, you know? And it's not only small change, we're talking about big changes. And I think the most important thing is, because you're in the military, you're so used to a certain type of people, sometimes that mindset, if you're transitioning to an entrepreneurial lifestyle, you may not be associating yourself with the right mindset, the people who have the right mindset, the people who lift you up. And I think I really encourage, it doesn't have to be, you know, folks out there who are veterans. It's just for anybody. Associate yourselves with people who continue to lift you up, because on hard days, you will need to strike a pose, right? And my pose is the sore pose. You might just need maybe Sondra or Fiona tap you in your back and go like, you look crummy today. You're not smiling. You know, let's do a pose right now. You know, and that's what we need. And I think we need people like that on a day-to-day basis. Doesn't matter, you know. Because sometimes the people that live in our space, even our loved ones, may not be the most positive people who will lift you up. So we need to go out there and associate ourselves with people that will lift us up, because it's a transition, it's a big change. And that's pretty much what I think, you know, would be a great start for many of the veterans out there who's transitioning into, you know, an entrepreneur lifestyle and trying to build a business and needs to get empowerment on a day-to-day basis. Does that make sense?
Could I just add one thing to that? Because just to build on that, another TED Talk, but Sean Achor, his last name is Achor, he's all about happiness. And that's one thing I would love to see is for our veterans is to have fun. You know, and if you look up if you watch that video, not only will you laugh out loud repeatedly throughout the whole thing, but he's got really good information. And to Sondra's point, he does talk about meditation. You know, he talks about gratitude. You know, it truly is focusing on the positives.
Right. Right. And Sondra's right now on the path of seeking for happy people, right, Sondra?
Yeah, let me get that going. Hold on. So actually, I'll just plug this right now. If you can see on my lower third, #HappySeekers. So I launched my business with the intention of giving people more time in their day to spend more time on just what makes their hearts happy. And so I really want to start building this community, mostly on Instagram, but really all over the internet, of just people sharing their happy moments, and just when they're in that moment of, you know, wow, I'm having a really good time, or I'm with people that I love, or I'm pursuing my passion and it's a grind, but at least I love it. You know, I want to just get people together to just know that it's okay to choose happiness. Really, like, we don't have to just grind it out and make it all about money. I mean, the reason we make money is to be happy and to be able to afford things that make us happy. There's a limit on how much money you need to be able to do that. You touched on that, Fiona. Corporate's great until it eats your soul out of you.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, I mean, I'm really working right now to, you know, get my happy seekers to come together and let's pursue this together. Yeah.
You know, and Sondra, you know what I'll do? I will take the Instagram info, and I'll share it with my class so that you'll get.
That's awesome. Please do.
Hopefully, your veterans will get on there. You know what I mean? Because I would be happy to do that. I think it's funny I use the word happy, but that'll be my happy picture.
Right? There you go. So, folks, I just wanted to quickly say, you know, if you're watching the show right now, Creative Chat Cafe, today we're talking about small changes, big benefits, tips from a retired Navy commander. Yes, May is actually Mother's Day, but we're also celebrating Memorial Day. So I'm joined by my co-host Sondra Feuerstein and Fiona Bain, who is a certified professional life coach and a retired Navy commander. And our hashtag for the show, if you're looking right now on your screen here, it says hashtag small changes, big benefits. And if you're tweeting us at CChat Cafe, you can also hashtag us CCC, time to hang out, and hashtag Creative Chat Cafe.
So, Fiona, question for you. How would you recommend your veterans stay motivated in regards to moving forward after the service?
So, good question. So I'm reading this book called The Feeling Good book, and it's by Dr. Burns. And you know what was fascinating to me, and I don't know if you ladies feel this as well, but there's a part in there about motivation, and I kept thinking, you know how sometimes you're like, well, I don't feel motivated to do that right now, or, you know, and you kind of put it off, right?
Yeah.
But what he says is take action anyway. So what happens is when you take action, the motivation comes. And I thought, well, how brilliantly simple is that? Right? So that's what I would like to leave our audience with is, you know what, even if you're not feeling it, do it anyway, because once you've identified where you want to go and you've identified, you could, you know, think about your steps, what steps you want to take to get there. So you have your goal, you chunk it down, you have your short-term goal, your medium range, your long range. Just take those steps, and, you know, whether you set up a schedule to do it, however you want to do it, right? That's up to you. But if you say, you know what, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do that, when it comes time and you hit your little calendar goes off and says you got to make that phone call or whatever it is, just do it, you know, and don't say, oh, I'm not feeling it. Don't worry about that.
Well, it's amazing because I noticed that those little things, and this is, you know, part of what I talk to my potential and actual clients about, is when you have a to-do, it just kind of sits right here. And it doesn't always show itself, but it's there. And then it comes up maybe at like 11 o'clock at night, right when you're about to go to sleep. And then you feel all guilty because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And then you're mad at yourself. And then, you know, it's this kind of vicious negative cycle. But as soon as you take one tiny step towards working towards that to do, whatever it may be, it's immediate relief. You literally feel the weight lifted off of you. It is brilliantly simple. I agree.
Did you ever notice how you get the idea to do something when you're not able to do it?
Exactly.
Like, so you're in the shower or you're driving and you can't do it. You know what I mean? I'm fascinated by that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't do that. You know, it just.
And also you'll have an hour in your day and it's free. You're like, I know there's so much I can do at this time, but I can't think of anything.
Exactly. And then as soon as you're unable to do it, boom, oh, that's right.
Right. Exactly.
Well, quickly before we go, I know we don't have much time right now, but I just want to, kind of get a feel of, Memorial Day, what does that mean to you? And as a retired Navy commander, how do you remember and honor our veterans? Do you do anything special or anything specific?
I haven't done so much lately. So I have been to, done the Memorial Day parade, and that was really fascinating. Especially when you see those who have gone before me, right? The true seniors. But the other thing is, I homeschool. I should say, homeschool our daughter. So she's just turning 11, and I think now is a really great time. So I think that to your question there, I think there's not the possibility, but the opportunity for us to really bring more about, more of that in there, and just not necessarily explain it more, but kind of go over what's been going on, and I think that, I don't know, so I think that there's a great opportunity for me to bring more information to Julianne, and as part of that would be celebrating on my part as well,
Okay. That's awesome. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Fiona. It's been a great conversation, and we always like to close out our show with the opportunity for everyone to mention how to get in touch with us. So, if you wouldn't mind firing away, Fiona, how would you recommend people get in touch?
It's super easy. My website is FionaBain.com. It's FionaBain.com, and then my email is Fiona@FionaBain, and if my information's there if they want to call me. It's 860-983-5899.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Sondra.
Yeah, so again, I'm the owner of PursuitOfSeattle.com, part-time personal assistance on a membership basis. Here to help people just get back in touch with what they love to do, lift that weight. If you feel like that's something that you'd like to participate in, feel free to hit the website, let me know, apply, let's work together. If you want to talk to me personally, my Instagram and Twitter is @SeattleSondra. I'm on that stuff too much, so get in touch with me. And then lastly, I'm going to plug this hashtag Happy Seekers one more time. I mean, this is something that's really exciting to me, is building a positive online community of people that are pursuing what makes them happy. And so, yeah, talk to me.
Happy people, get in touch with Sondra. Hashtag Happy Seekers.
Or if you want to be happy and you're not happy yet.
So, folks, if you're brand new to the show and you're watching, we Entrepreneurs That Soar produces the show, and it's if you go to our website, entrepreneursthatsoar.com, that's where you watch it every Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and there's a tab there that says web shows, and if there's also a sub-tab called Creative Chat Cafe. You can catch up all our past episodes right there, the blog and all that stuff. And every first Wednesday of the month is a live 60-minute show, and we like to feature social enterprises, social businesses that have like a great social mission, because we figured it'll be great to support businesses or enterprises or organizations that are paying it forward in this world. Here's our Facebook information, Facebook Creative Chat Cafe. On Google Plus, it's our Google Plus community for Creative Chat Cafe, and Twitter handle is @CChatCafe. And if you enjoy watching videos, you can go to our YouTube channel. There's a few playlists for Creative Chat Cafe, and you can catch up all our past episodes there. Again, here's our hashtag, Let's Get Social. We all love our social platforms, right? Hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out, and hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. Tweet us @CChatCafe. Thank you, folks, for joining us today, and I just want to say thank you to both these ladies here. Fiona, for taking some time out of your busy schedule. Sondra, for being a great sidekick all the time. Woo-hoo! So let's say so much, lady, and we'll see you in the next episode of Creative Chat Cafe. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.